by questions and comments by the panelists here. Audience, please hold your questions for off stage during the coffee break. Panelists, you're free to either share your comments or any questions that you might have after the presentation. Here, come on stage.
Right. Hello, everyone. My name is Salim. Martin Luther King once said, "I have a dream." These powerful words changed the course of history. In some way, I too have a dream. It was during my PhD when I first saw a glimpse of this vision, the hope to impact the lives of thousands of individuals using my training and education. Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to show how I plan to make this dream a reality. Our long-term vision is to be in health analytics, where we want to acquire as much information about an individual, be it genetic or environmental data. We got started in 2010, and we've had several sources of funding, right from government funding to angel investors. We've had 2 angel investment rounds. This is our team. It comprises of a various mix of expertise, people having rich experience from medicine to nutrition to genetics to bioinformatics to sales and marketing. The reason why we are into this space is because the current state of health is symptomatic, and chronic illnesses are rising in India at an alarming rate. If you look at diabetes alone, there are about 62.4 million people who are affected by diabetes in 2011. And we are going to hit really alarming numbers in the next few years. And the overall prevalence rate of diabetes is 9%. And if you were to add up other chronic illnesses like obesity, cardiovascular diseases, we are easily seeing 2-digit numbers here, 30, 40%. Hold on to these facts while I share with you another side of the same story. This is Sergey Brin. He's Google's co-founder. And he's interested in a lot of these physical activities like yoga, diving, gymnastics, and acrobatics. And it's not like he had interest in these right from the beginning, but rather he developed this interest for a specific reason. In 2007, he took up a genetic test, and he found that he had a mutation in a particular gene which put him at high risk for Parkinson's disorder. And then once he found this, he started researching, and he additionally found that by diet and exercise alone, you can further bring this risk down. And because he was rich, he also invested in research in neuroscience, and he feels that in the next few years, he can bring this risk further down. So the most important step in this entire scheme of things was that genetic test that he took, because that empowered him to take a series of actionable steps. So things are changing. Things are becoming, healthcare is becoming preventive now, from symptomatic to preventive. What we do at Xcode is we empower individuals where we let them know about their genetic details and also give pointers in their, so they can change their lifestyle and then lead a healthy life. And it works this way. A person comes online and orders a kit. We send them a container where they deposit the saliva. Our courier comes and picks it up from their house and then sends it to our lab, which is in Hyderabad. And then we do the analysis and the nutrition plan and the fitness plan. So what we give in return is a report that consists of health risks as well as we combine metabolism of a metabolic capacity of an individual, and then give recommendations that are in the form of nutrition and fitness. And this program is priced at 10,000 rupees, where we have the disease risk identification to the recommendations to also counseling by our genetic and nutritional counselors. So how is it that we are going to become the largest repository of genetic and environmental information? What we are going to do is we collect the saliva in a container and we store it for several years. And what is going to happen is in the next few years, whole genome sequencing is going to come down. And we are hoping that this will come down to a price of $100. And in the next 4 or 5 years, we would have collected enough biological samples along with supporting information, and we call it environmental information, which will allow us to do correlations as well as discoveries. And these discoveries will be utilized by pharmaceutical companies for personalized medicine, by food companies like Pepsi, Coke for personalized nutrition, and also other research institutions to facilitate their research work. So we're seeking investment in the tune of $4 million. where we feel that we'll be utilizing this towards marketing, R&D for new product development, as well as strengthening our existing algorithms. So to end, I want to end with a story. I want you all to visualize this. The year is 2020, and it's a hot summer day. You're feeling thirsty. You go to a vending machine, and instead of 4 dispensers, you see 16 to 20 dispensers. And what you want to do is, there's a scanner right there where you place your finger in, and what happens is the data is uploaded to the cloud. It matches with your genetic details and your dietary habits and your disease type. And what happens is this data is reported back into the vending machine, and the right kind of Pepsi is delivered to you. All this in a matter of few seconds. And what I want to tell you is Xcode has taken that first step towards that reality. Thank you for listening.
Salim, some idea on your competition as to who all are the players in this area and how you're positioned against them or with them?
Sure. There are a lot of players in the West. The one predominant company that is in the US is 23andMe, which Mrs. Google founded. Again, it's a wife of Sergey Brin. In India, we are the first ones to be combining DNA and wellness, and we have this vision of, the entire analytics part, which I don't think many of them are thinking about. What we want to do is combine genetic data and also clinical information, so that we can then come up with correlation and more advanced diagnostic capabilities.
So I have a couple of questions. What's your IP? That's one. 2, you've heard of Map My Genome?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I've been following Map My Genome for quite some time now. From their website, I don't know if they're operational yet. I think they're still in stealth mode. In terms of IP, right now it is our program, but it's not that it can't be replicated. We have designed our algorithm in such a way that we give more weightage to the Indian polymorphisms. At least for 3 to 6 months, we do have a certain barrier to entry. But otherwise, I think the data that we collect will feed into our algorithm, which will be our IP.
How many customers have you served? It's all web-based, is it?
It is direct to consumer. We're also signing up with hospitals and corporate companies. So we have close to 100 customers so far.
Only 100 customers data you have. And how many customers are you doing every month now?
We're doing close to 25, 30 people. 30 customers.
People right now.
And this is primarily direct to consumers. So we haven't yet signed up any B2B partner yet. It's been 6 months since we launched.
And how will this 10,000 rupees charge help you scale up the business? Is there going to be enough margin for you to be able to scale up?
I think scalability will. I want to give an example, which is from the West. 23andMe sells this at $99, and they don't keep any margin. In fact, they are going red in this. Their entire business model is about data collection. So they are subsidizing VC funding towards building this database. Currently, they have about 200,000 individuals who have taken these tests.
And this, just one question. I think the details of your clients, I think that you are collecting saliva and their analysis, you would have their permission to share this data?
Absolutely. So we do follow strict ethical practices. We get a consent form and then get their signature on it. Only after they tell that it could be used for research purpose, we plan to use it.
With this 4 million, how many customers would you be able to reach to?
We are hoping that we'll at least get to about 10 to 15,000. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Salim. I now request Siddharth Gupta from Tag and Pin on stage, please. Siddharth has a venture in the e-commerce tools space. And as they say, whenever there is a gold rush on, the best idea is to sell pickaxes. You already heard that here. And he believes that that's what he's doing. So Siddharth, over to you. Also, the panelists, if you can keep the questions to about 5 minutes, that will be good.
Hi everyone, I am Siddharth, co-founder of Tag and Pin. Traditionally, brands have been rewarding their customers for purchases by issuing loyalty points and paperback cards. But with the advent of mobile and social media, we can even measure word-of-mouth marketing by social graph. This is where social engagement loyalty platform, Tag and Pin comes into the picture. It helps rewards customer not only for purchases, but also for social sharing. Tag and Pin do-it-yourself technology platform helps brands to launch loyalty program across their website, mobile, stores, social networks like Facebook within minutes. And it has plug-and-play plugins for multiple popular CRMs to get them started quickly. And not only that, there is API interface which helps developers to integrate third-party application with their loyalty programs. On top of this technology platform, we have also built multiple modules that help brands to customize their loyalty programs, whether it be loyalty batches, birthday offers, rewarding check-in, email and SMS notification system, and whatnot. As you can see how Tag and Pin helps users, it tracks their conversation across multiple communication channels, whether it be Twitter, Facebook, Foursquare, mobile, in-store, on website, and rewards them appropriately as the brand has configured in its admin panel. And in return, brands get to see in-depth and actionable insights via analytics that Tag and Pin provides to them. On this screen, you can see some of the integrations of Tag and Pin with our clients. You can see it is integrated on the Facebook, it is there on mobile, as well as there is a plugin on the website. Speaking of the market size, loyalty is typically considered to be 1% of the retail size. And if we consider India alone, that would be $4 billion of business, including gifting. And the market that Tag and Pin is targeting is international. So that opens up a really huge potential for growth, even if there are multiple competitors. Business model, Tag and Pin has a pretty simple monthly subscription and a pay-as-you-go model for larger players, and which has small number of users. They can get started with it at low cost, and as they scale, they can just scale our system as well. Speaking of traction, Tag and Pin has 250 plus brands registered across the world. And there are a lot of brands, top brands in India as well, who have been our clients. Achievements, Tag and Pin has received wide press coverage by top technology blogs, whether it's Your Story, Your Next Big Word, Tech Circle, Microsoft, BizSpark, BlackBerry. And we have been shortlisted among the top 10 startups by Startup Village. We are looking to raise fund close to $750K to $1 million over the in near future for next 18 months to scale our marketing operation as well as to strengthen our technology team. Thank you.
Two questions. Who wants to go?
No questions from my side.
No question?
Yeah, that was
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Siddharth. The third company is by an IITIM entrepreneur selling solar-powered backpacks and T-shirts. Gandhar Bakshi, Lumos Design on stage, please.
For blinds. Thanks. Lumos. It's yes, yeah. Thank you. Okay. Firstly, thank you, Team at Venture Intelligence. This is a great opportunity for us. So I will, let's get to the point. So basically, I will tell you about how Lumos is probably the world's first solar apparel company. And we are on a mission to make every human energy neutral, right? So we use many devices like laptops, mobile phones, and you really don't need a plug point to charge any of them today. We have a unique team. The co-founder, I'm a marketing person, and we also have a fashion/apparel designer on board. So it's a fairly unique team from IIM Bangalore and NIFT. And we have a couple of mentors. And we are basically requesting for 2 crores of funding after a certain observation period over a revenue base of around 20 lakhs. So let's just get into the whole point. So the current model of energy or electricity being generated somewhere, then transmitted over several hundreds, thousands of kilometers to our houses, and then you charge your phone. It's a fairly old conventional model, right? There are 3 unnecessary links here. The link from the plant to your house and from that to your mobile phone. These are all unnecessary and they just bind you to a place. So I used to be in sales and marketing, and before a call, I often used to go and look for a plug point, which was quite embarrassing for me. So I started making this for myself first, and that's how the company started. So how much energy do humans receive? So right now, there are spotlights on 4 members here, right, who are probably sweating thanks to the spotlight. So for example, that's a lot of energy that's falling on them. If that could be harnessed, they could not only use it to charge their phones, but they could use it to even maybe build some sort of cooling into their clothes, right? So on an average today, with today's technology, a human receives roughly around 70 odd watts of energy over a day, right? That's a lot of energy. 70 watts is good enough for your phone. It's good enough for maybe a tablet. Again, it depends on whether how much energy you receive, but it's good enough for your phone and tablets, I would say. Going ahead, as efficiency of solar panels increases, I'm talking of miniature solar panels, flexible ones, which can be built into T-shirts and backpacks and so on. So as energy efficiency increases, we anticipate that by 2017, any human being would probably receive around 200 watts of solar energy, which is good enough even for your laptops today. So basically, there would be no need to plug your laptop into any plug point. Wherever you're traveling, you will generate energy and you will use it, right? So just moving on to another source of energy that we face is a source of curtains, right? So I stay in an apartment in Bangalore, and many of us do. We don't have access to rooftops, but we have lots of curtains in our house. We have multiple windows over which we have curtains, which is another source of energy that's untapped, right? Today, a set of curtains, let's say you have 4 windows, you could generate again 200 watts of energy from there. Inverter, right? Even if you have a power cut, you can use this to charge a laptop, a fan, or a light. So going ahead, we even anticipate that if there might come a meeting point where ACs become efficient enough that you could probably use curtains to just run an AC, air conditioning unit. Invaluable in cities like Chennai, where we plan to actually test a lot of this. So I think I've pretty much given away as the products that we make. We make solar Venetian blinds, and we make solar backpacks. So let me get to the funding requirement. So we're looking for a funding to the tune of rupees 2 crores in around August, September. And 60% of this goes into R&D, which includes building the R&D team, building the equipment, etc. 20% of it goes for support. Again, support requirements in this can be intense. So 20% goes into support, and another 20% goes into SAD. So the program is, and this probably extends to the entire audience, please do visit lumos.co.in, and if you find the backpack interesting, feel free to order it. And prior to the investment, you can actually observe the functioning of Lumos for 6 months. And if you are interested, then we will inform you about key developments. And we currently have a funding base of 10 lakhs, which we haven't spent enough of. So you can actually see us do magic with that funding base. So going to the team, there's me. I'm primarily a marketing person. I used to work in the marketing team of Tejas Networks, which is a telecom product company. So I worked there for a long time before doing my MBA at IIM Bangalore. Then we have Lavina, who's worked as an apparel designer for 5+ years with leading brands in India. And today we have more mentors and employees. I don't know what that says about us. But for example, we have a full-time electronics engineer who works with us, and we also have mentors. Again, a 90s graduate of IIT Madras, who's currently working in Juniper. He advises on team-building aspects of this. So he tells us how do I go about identifying electronics engineers who can join us, etc. And we have another mentor who advises on specific aspects of it, of electronics. Then we also have 2 other advisors, one for social media marketing and promotions when we do. He's also one of our investors. And we also have a mentor for the backpack materials and so on. So that is the team. And just to give you an idea about the traction that we have had so far, so as a marketing person, I'll tell you, if you come up with a category creating product, you have to be focused on a niche, preferably a community that talks a lot amongst themselves. So for us, that community is amateur cyclists. So in Bangalore, there are around 6,000 of them, and they're very tightly knit. They talk a lot to each other, and they absolutely love our products. So that's the community we are targeting to begin with. We have over 50 interviewed. We have 45 registrations on our website for a coming lot, which is of 50. And the Bangalore market for cyclists itself for backpacks is around 3 crores. So we aim to first just target this and try to get a good share of this market. We also tied up with a retailer who sells cycling accessories and backpacks. Going ahead, we expect that we would move into lateral markets such as biking enthusiasts. And like the iPod, we might also have a market in corporate gifting, where you get a gift from the company for spending 10 years in the company, etc. For the Venetian brands, we have signed an NDA with the Tata company. This was a pleasant surprise for us. They approached us, and they have an interest in solar accessories. So they signed an NDA, and we have started discussions with them for resale of the product. And we also plan to do a Kickstarter project for the solar Venetian blinds in a few months. So we will end the presentation with just a few points. We've already got a few accolades. One is we were judged by this famous angel investor called Esther Dyson as most likely to succeed, and we won an event, a pitch fest at Internet of Things event. We also won the jury's award at TIE ISB, and we've been placed on the Hyderabad Angels Accelerator program. So that's one more thing. And we were also amongst the 10 startups who demo at Unplugged. So with that, I would like to thank you all. Again, please visit lumos.co.in, and any of you have any feedback, please do tell me. Thank you.
I have 2 questions. Right?
Yes.
So why don't you have a technology guy as one of the co-founders? Is that not important?
Yes.
And then the second question is, what do you do with that energy generated in the backpack? I mean, do you have a socket that I can plug my mobile phone or something? Or those are the 2 questions.
So I'll answer the second question because that's simpler. So what happens is that the energy gets stored in the battery at all times, right? So that's what happens. And when you need to charge your phone, we provide multiple connectors that you can just connect your phone and charge it. So people even can use it for a handheld camera, for example. Anything that charges with a micro USB works. The first question, yes. So right now we have an electrical engineer working with us full time, but for a co-founder we are looking for one. So we are talking to a few people, and we are taking the help of our mentor to shortlist and talk to these people. But that might happen over the next 3 months.
I have a question.
Sure.
Hi. You must be aware of there is something like D-Light, which is something on similar lines that you're talking about. And another thing I had, your market, you're looking at bikers and cyclists. Have you looked at markets in the rural cities or rural parts of India where there is major electricity issue? There aren't even electric supplies in the interiors of India. So something like, I don't know in terms of backpack, but some other product which has the same sort of technology, it would have a larger market reach over there. I mean, just a question or so.
What do you say? Okay. I'm sorry, I think I've been told that I can take this offline, so we can do that. That's it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Gandharv. Sorry, we're running out of time. These specific discussions can be offline. I now request our 4th firm, an established entrepreneur in the social venture space. The entrepreneur in this case is also an angel investor, and this is his second venture. Madan Pankey on stage, please. It is hand held high. Head held high, sorry. Sure, please.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Delighted to be here. Just for a second, if I can ask you to just close your eyes, and I'm going to put out a word, and I just want you to visualize some images in your mind. And the word I'm putting out there is rural. Just take a second. Most likely, you would have visualized these sorts of images, right? Of agriculture, of somebody plowing in a dry, barren land, struggles, travels, of the rural folk, so on and so forth. But the rural that I have seen over the last 1 year is not the old rural anymore. And there's a lot of stuff happening in rural. Of course, the old rural exists, but it's morphing very, very quickly to the new rural. And that new rural is characterized by 4 things. 1, phenomenal access to information. I just Googled mobile phone rural, and I got these bunch of images. I just cut and pasted here, right? So there's a huge access and a need for information that exists. Raw talent, hungry for opportunities. This is how I began my journey about 3-4 years ago, when we did an experiment at the extreme. We said, what does it take to transform a zero-educated, illiterate village youth? Is he transformable at all? And that came from the work I'd done at Meritrack in terms of employability. So we did this crazy experiment where we took somebody like Ramesh. Just play a 10-second video. Ramesh is, if I can have the audio, please. Ramesh is 18 years of age, never ever been to school, never held a pencil in his life, does not know even how to read, write his local language, which is Kannada, works as a cowherd earning about 10 rupees a day. And we took 8 such people in an experiment, convinced them to come with us to Bangalore. Yeah, so you can see that he's not even able to string a sentence together in Kannada. And we hired a trainer who ran away within the first few hours, saying it was be mad if you expect me to train such people. A very young colleague of mine quit his job, started living with these 8 kids. And what we saw was quite the miracle. This is the same Ramesh after 7 months. If I can have the audio again, please.
In my village, I always wore dhoti. I never traveled on the bus. I did not know what's the time and what's the watch. I knew only 2 things: go to farm or sunrise, came back home or sunset. I had never visited a city. I did not know about city life. When I first came to Bangalore, I could not speak to anyone. And I also scared to touch a computer. When I started to learn in English, I was so scared because I did not know how to write ABCD. After these 7 months, I can type minimum at 40 words per minute. A month ago, I went...
So the kind of transformation that we saw kind of blew my mind away, and saying that if this is the talent that exists, maybe the lens that we are looking at it is very wrong. Imagine if we were to unleash this power. Right? So we subsequently went and trained another 120 people in a place called Koppal, and lo and behold, by using trainers who never trained before, we were able to see a phenomenal transformation with this is a very intensive training program, 16 hours a day, 6.5 days a week, 6 months. And we were able to see that these kids now, this is the rural BPO that we have in Koppal, where we run a variety of processes, including one for a large BPO. Ironical that when a graduate in Gurgaon quits this BPO, the termination letter is sent by a zero-educated villager from Kanagiri. We actually run an HR exit process, amongst other things. So essentially, this proves that there is a huge amount of talent that is waiting to be tapped. Third, indomitable entrepreneurial spirit, of course, exposed to high risks and low opportunities. We launched an entrepreneur forum last week, 10 days ago in Gadag. 200 people turned up in an auditorium, sat with rapt attention for 2 hours, trying to understand how can I grow my business. So we see that spirit that exists with need to be given opportunities. And lastly, aspirations. I mean, most of you might have seen this recent report, how Tier 2 and smaller towns are now getting onto the curve of the e-commerce revolution. And we recently did a study for a solar charger, lamp charger in the villages. 8 out of 10 people asked us, forget the lamp, I need a TV charger, right? So essentially, the aspiration levels are no different from what we see in urban. And therefore, what we are seeing is that there is a new breed of rural youth who mirrors urban in terms of information access, talent, entrepreneurial spirit, and aspirations. And we've just coined a new term for this called Rubens. Right? We thought that calling them the new rural will still evoke the old rural images, so we call them Rubens. And that is where we believe that if you can empower the Rubens, give them opportunities to provide, to generate income for them, then you can liberate a huge wave of youth into the mainstream and get them to contribute to the economic growth of the country. Head held high is this initiative. inspired, of course, by the famous poem. And our mission is to bring about rural prosperity by unleashing the power of Rubens through platforms for talent transformation and employment creation. So I'll just take a minute to talk about the platform. We have two things that we do. Ruben Shakti is the talent transformation platform where we are training people not on vocational but on careers in market research, sales, operations, customer services. The idea is to keep these resources within the villages and generate employment through the Ruben Source platform, where we will engage with large companies, social enterprises, governments, entrepreneurs, and provide services from the villages, which could be BPO. We run a rural BPO, but could also be knowledge services in areas like agriculture, health, financial services, so on and so forth. We've just started doing a rural healthcare survey for a large foundation, and our kids are being able to do these surveys on tablets and of course, engage with the local people. So that's the model we're looking at. 3 revenue streams. This is a for-profit enterprise held by a trust that keeps our social conscience in check. Training fees, services, BPO and rural access, and transaction fees that subscribers will pay for the platform to access these services. The dream is to get to 2 million people in the next 10 years, 3 phases. We are in phase 1 now, get the model right phase, 3 years, get to the scale right phase in the next 3 years, and get to the clones right phase in the subsequent 4 years. We've trained 700 people so far. We've placed all of them. We have failed abysmally in bringing rural BPO jobs to the villages, and that's the focus, that how do you create demand, which is where we're going to spend a lot of time and effort. An interesting team coming from across the world, where we are trying to bring a whole lot of investors who can actively contribute. And we are just cranking up our partnership piece. We've got, again, a plethora of people, including Penn Graduate School of Education, Knowledge at Wharton, interested in what we're doing. And we believe that we can create an ecosystem which can bring the Rubens into the mainstream. Thank you very much.
You've chosen a particular focus area for yourself for this particular training element, or it is across India?
We are currently doing it in 3 districts, Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh. By the end of this year, we would have got into 7 districts. We're looking at Rajasthan and Orissa. So our target is to operate in the bottom 200 districts of India.
And in South right now? And how many partners you are?
Sorry?
What is the team that you have?
The total team is about 35 people, including about 15 trainers. We have 20 people in the BPO. And the executive team is just getting built now. So I'm just about transitioning out of my other roles and moving into this full time. Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks. I'll just take this out.
Thank you. Thanks, Madan. And after such an exciting and super panel and pitches, can you have a round of applause for our investors here and our session chair, please? I guess we should have no doubts about why excitement in the early stage segment is going to continue, and it's here to stay. And you've just done justice to that statement. Thank you very much.